Hey, hey, beautiful people. It is October the 8th, 2013 at 11:51 in the morning. Got another wonderful rainy day here in Florida. Seems like that tropical storm that was supposed to be hitting the Mississippi Gulf Coast and was supposed to be a hurricane, it kind of shifted into a tropical storm and hooked a 90-degree angle and took a right turn at the Gulf Coast and came over here to Florida. So we got some rain over here, which is much needed. That's real cool. Ah, man. I feel like we're in, for those of us who have really been doing our ascension work, our identification of our problems, sides of ourself, our ego, our according to others, our negativity, and our perceptions and our ways of looking at things. How those of us that have been on the ascension process have been identifying and doing those things so that we could clear them and add a higher vibrational frequency into our field with more and more expanded light quotient. It seems like a lot of us seem to be in a holding pattern right now. Many of you might have seen my video on September 27th, and I believe it was September 27th, and I said that it feels like we're coming out of a birth canal. And I've been hesitant to say much since about this because I'm still experiencing it. And it really does feel like those of us who have been doing our ascension work are, the way showers, the guides, the gatekeepers. We seem to have crowned into 5D. Like, here is where we are on the body and on the birth canal, and the rest of the body is still either in the birth canal or in the womb, because a whole baby does not get birthed all at the same time, unless it's a C-section, and we're not doing that. Not in this planetary ascension. No C-sections here. And so with that, it feels to me like some of us being on the head and having crowned in the birthing process are popping out the other side and seeing the new world with our eyes wide open. And now there are persons that are, still going through their awakening process that are within the birth canal right now, and those still unawakened that are on the legs and feet of the collective of humanity still in the womb. And those guys are kind of freaking out as to what's going on right now. It's pretty interesting to watch. As we're having the government shut down at the exact same time as we're going through this collective birthing process. That's interesting, the fractals that are playing out here. And then I would imagine as a baby is about ready to be birthed, there's probably some uneasiness that the soul feels, the individual feels while in the womb and lining up with the birth canal and starting to go through that push. Many of us were feeling that pressure over the summer, and right now I don't feel like there's any pressure on me whatsoever, but it does feel like I'm in limbo. It feels like I'm part of the head of the collective of humanity going through the collective ascension process, and that head is crowned and made it out of the birth canal, except we've got our eyes wide open and we can see. We just can't use it's like our shoulders and our arms and our hands and our legs and feet are still in either the birth canal or the womb. And it's like we're popping out right here and we got our head out, but we can't do anything. We got to wait until, more of this baby slides on out. And that's exactly what it feels like right now. It's also interesting to watch the persons who still are not acknowledging that we are going through a collective shift in consciousness, and they're still playing in 3D energies that, because they are so used to playing in 3D energies, not only this life but for many other lifetimes, and they're in fear right now. They're watching the whole thing coming down, and they don't know what to do because they haven't really accepted that we're going through a transition as a collective, as Mother Earth, the end times, going into New Earth. And it's interesting to see that these persons are not able to connect with that spiritual side and just accept that this is what's going on. Focus in on their fears and their ego and their separation and their duality and their being in the brain game, and to shift that consciousness into their heart and begin their ascension process. Step into 4D, basically. It's also really neat to see that so many of those of us who have been telling our story, leading the way, being a way shower for so long now, being in that head that's having been crowned and that is now out of the birth canal. And it's almost like we can pass on the baton of teaching ascension to a new wave of persons that are just now going through their process and that are explaining their process to persons who are newly awakened, coming out of the 3D, just beginning their ascension process, their activation, their enlightenment, their expansion. And so it's really cool. It seems like there's bridges that have just recently stepped up to what's going on planet and into their own roles as teachers and way showers, which allows those of us who have been doing this a long time to go even higher in our frequencies. We don't have to be so concerned with persons just now waking. I have talked to several friends who are also have been on their ascension process for quite some time right now and feel much of the same thing. Like, gosh, how do we go back and teach what we began with so long ago in trying to relate and express the feelings that we experienced years ago? That's not up for us to do. It's really up for the persons who are newly going through their ascension process right now to express themselves to the persons just waking up. And it's just a process. It's a process of identifying really the ego and shifting out of that duality and into the heart. But doing that is also a process of looking at that which makes us separate from source, or that which is whole, and that which is lower vibration or of a higher vibration. And the removal or the retraining of ourselves, the taking a look at our perceptions and seeing if that is really something that will be taken into a new way of being, into wholeness, into completeness, into the heart. Does it work? Does it only work out of the brain, or can that work in the heart too? And that identification and that cleaning up so that we can hold higher and higher frequency and more light quotient. That is the ascension. The ascension is the raising of your frequency. It's the shifting of the consciousness from the duality and brain game in the head and into the heart, to just free flowing. The identification with the energies instead of the intellect and all those things that we have believed was the truth of our reality, while we were in 3 and 4D Earth in this lifetime, in this ego. And so it's interesting to see so many of us having stepped through the process and fully living from heart at this point, and just feeling like we're on hold. We're in a waiting stance until this body can actually be birthed into new earth, and that's cool. It really, really, really is cool. Ever since that video on September 27th, where I said, man, we've gone through a huge shift. I've watched the news and what I post on a daily basis, and it's almost like, and I'm not posting the 3 and 4D illusion news anymore, the collapse of what's going on in 3 and 4D to awaken humanity. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm posting the higher messages from others of us that are going through the crowning process ourselves now. And it's interesting to see that for the vast majority of us, it's almost like we're in hold, like we're in a void. We're in a waiting stance. We're in it's not even really recalibration right now. It's just trying to sort out what we've gone through, what we're feeling, what's actually occurring. And we've got some sunlight coming in right as I say that, which is cool, because that means I can get on back out to planting and putting in some new seeds into the soil for this new moon time that we're in, and get ready for my winter garden. So anyway, that's my experience at this time, and just watching it all unfold and play out. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the federal government and the re-evaluation of the U.S. dollar and currency. I've seen persons posts that other governments, like the Swiss government, are looking at the possibility of making sure everyone in that country has a paycheck, which it should. We are the value. Corporations that have been controlling the government is not the value of the planet. It's the individuals having the incarnate experience, which is the true value. It is the dreams and the work and the effort and the vibration that those individuals are putting out into the collective that creates the manifestation we collectively experience. And so that would be really cool if the Swiss government does that. I saw about a month and a half ago that the Vatican was actually talking about that. It was when the Vatican was going through their banking crisis, and they were being accused of having laundered so much money off of drugs and guns and supporting war and everything else, and taking it from the people and countries, and how the new Pope was even thinking about the dispersal of the wealth of the Vatican. In between the Vatican and the Rothschilds and the Queen of England, you're talking owning more than 50% of the planet. It really needs to be dispersed back to the planet. The population, humanity, is the real value on planet, and we shouldn't be concerned about struggling, trying to figure out how much um, we're worth as values as individuals, because we're priceless. And in that money, in that currency, current, electricity, electrical energy, energetic flow, currency, should be going back to humanity and equally. There is no any person above or below another. They're all valued equally. And with that, we could focus more on our spiritual aspects of self, our ascension process, the increase of our frequency, and collectively together manifesting a new earth, manifesting new realities that only right now are dreams. But we can turn those dreams into new reality by focusing our thoughts and our emotions, just like we manifest things. But we really need the collective to do just that. So it's a really cool thing to see what the Swiss government is considering right now, and to hear what the Vatican is considered, and the American government needs to do it too. We need to get rid of the war machine. We need to get rid of the corporate structure that controls the government and humanity, because corporations are, that's the illusion. They are not individual, real, living beings that are productive. They're not. They might consist of groups of living beings that are productive, but the corporation itself is not. And the corporation needs to serve humanity, not the corporation. So anyway, boy, I went off on a tangent there, didn't I? Well, with the sun just now coming out, I guess I need to go get some seeds in the ground or into potters and ready for fall. Anyway, love y'all. Bye for now.